Hello everyone, Kenuki here, and today we find ourselves casting DemuSlim versus SortOf. We have 4 matches in total. We just casted one. DemuSlim was playing the English, SortOf was playing the Ottoman. This time we are gonna see DemuSlim playing the Ottoman and SortOf playing the Mongol on another hybrid map. It's gonna be Canal. Canal, that is gonna be one of the maps that will be played during the Golden League 2. Golden League 2, which also will have a lot of custom rules, like no stone walls, no keeps, stuff like this. So both of the players are going to play according to this. Okay, so basically what we are going to see here is DemuSlim and SortOf training for this event and testing the maps, testing certain build orders, testing certain sieves, see how it goes. And this time, as I said, DemuSlim playing the Ottoman. Let me see, can I switch this? What is the... Oh, I can't remember. There you go. So playing as the Ottoman, as we can see, and he's gonna go for a very fast dock. So one of the strengths of the Ottoman is that their dock costs only 100 and their raxes cost only 100, which allow them to very quickly go onto the map when it comes to water map. The Mongols, what is their strength on water? It's very simple on hybrid maps, to be precise. It's very simple. They have the ability to get a quick rax, and from that quick rax, they are then able to snowball into a lot of pikemen. Basically, that's it. So we are going to see very quickly a rax here being dropped and pikemen being added. We can see though DemuSlim on this side is already going for a dock. So one of the key rule when you go for an early dock and your opponent doesn't, and I like to see this from DemuSlim, is trying to check, okay, is my opponent going for a dock? One of the big rule is do not over invest. That's the best way of losing everything. What you need to do is make sure that these docks stay up no matter how many fishing boats you have. If you have 2 fishing boats, that's 2 more fishing boats than your opponent. Okay, that's the way to think about it. So make sure that you are not falling behind, on tempo, and that's exactly what DemuSlim is doing. He just saw the racks, immediately he's dropping a racks, and I really love this. He must stop production. There you go. Switch his villagers back onto food, at least a few of them, and try to keep the food production high enough so that way he can train pikemen. That's really the goal here. So if we look at the villager spread, you see a lot of villager on food at this point, while if you would like to commit fully onto water, you would like to have a lot more villagers actually onto wood. So that's the play here, and we can see he's immediately going for pikemen, for spearmen in English, sorry, my bad. And we can see now that spearmen are coming from the side of SortOf, and SortOf is going for a dock on his own. And that's gonna be the next information that DemuSlim wants to take. Is my opponent going for a dock? So what he's gonna do is gonna bring back the ship, and then I believe he's gonna go directly towards here. Instead of going for all those black areas, he's gonna go back towards the shoreline, and he's gonna make sure that his opponent doesn't have a dock. Okay, because that's the big information that you want at this point. Is my opponent going for a dock or not? Because if your opponent is going for a dock, it means that he's gonna spend wood into fishing ships. So what you can do is restart your production of fishing ships. However, if your opponent is not going for a dock, you need to keep the production of spearmen. And that's all that you need to do. Production of spearmen. So we can see the scout, he is not going bottom. Like, that's very important. We can see that SortOf is going bottom. He's not taking the information around the canal. We can see that DemuSlim doesn't care about all of this. What he wants to know is, what is my opponent doing? And I really think that's something that you can learn from DemuSlim. And now we can see a dock here. Immediately, boom, fishing boat is going up. You see what I mean? And that's something, guys, that you can do. That's something that you can emulate in your game. Look for the information you need, okay? And as you get the information, immediately respond. Immediately respond. So we can see that once again, we are strangely even on the villager count. I say strangely because it shouldn't be the case. Actually, no villager have died and we have more fishing boats than our opponent. So I wonder if there is a little bit of a hole in this build order that would need to be patched, let's say. We have here 17 villagers, 17 plus the 2 that are here, that's 19. 19 on the opponent side, we have 1 plus the 17 that are here, 18. That's strange. That's weird. Like it feels a bit weird because it's like the Muslims should have more eco at that point. Bit weird. But there you go. You can see 2 fishing ship advantage on the side of the Muslim. Oh, maybe fishing ship don't count. Yeah, that must be it. Fishing ships don't count. Okay. So then that explains it. Okay. So the Muslim is not really behind, like barely, compared to his opponent. Maybe he missed 1 villager training, which is not fine, but that's less than ideal. But it's okay, because we can see he has a big fishing ship advantage. Now here comes the big timing for the Ottoman. Up until now, the Muslim was playing pretty passive, pretty defensive, because the tempo wasn't on his side. Now there is a big swing, and that big swing is the arrival of the 2 imams, the first vizier point. That point is gonna allow the Muslim to basically push into his opponent. Very quickly he's gonna be able to push into his opponent. We can see 6 fishing ships here, only 3 here, and the Muslim, he is gonna start to push. He is gonna start to push forward with his army, because now he knows he is ahead. And that's really something that I want you, once again, to emulate. If you know you have a power spike, if you know you are stronger at that timing, and Ottoman are the only one with those imams that are boosted imams on top of that, because they have AoE healing around them, you know that you are stronger than your opponent. So go for it. You must put pressure onto your opponent, and that's exactly what the Muslim is doing. He's putting pressure on his opponent dock, and the goal is going to be to try to deny the dock. We can see the villager is going down, and then he's probably going to go for the dock. On his side, SortOf understands, once again, as we saw during the previous game, he understands that this is the Ottoman timing. I cannot win. I need to transition. I need to run around to make the army of my opponent run around. But the Muslim, once again, doing the correct thing here. He's not running after his opponent's army. What he's doing is he's going straight for the dock. What you have to understand is that the dock here is more expensive for the Mongol than it is for the Ottoman. The little thing though to add on top of that is that the Ottoman, the Mongol, if they kill the dock, they get extra resources from it. So there you go. The Muslim took down the dock. He's taking down a fishing ship as well, and now he's gonna go back to try to defend his own dock. We can see that the 2 villagers here are rotating around, probably to throw a second dock at the back, just in case this one's fall, and this one is going to fall. So SortOf just got some resources from it. I believe it's 25-25 if I'm correct. So there you go. The dock is going down on both sides. We can see Demu saved his 7 fishing ships. His opponent still has 4. So you can see the big difference here is that as the Muslim is ahead of his opponent, he is not wasting time chasing his opponent. He is immediately looking to deal damage, and he's going for the damage. Okay, that's the big thing to learn from this, and accept that you may lose, that you may lose a bit. As he goes back, his opponent is forced to go back. We can see that Arden upgrade is on the side of SortOf, not yet on the side of Demu. Oh, my bad. It is on both sides. So now Demu can fight again, because he was a little bit late on the edge up. One very interesting thing, we have seen the silver tree on this side, so we are going to have some trade. We don't see the trading landmark. I can't remember the name. We are seeing the Twin Minaret Madras. I'm a bit surprised, honestly. I thought we would have seen the training landmark, because that map is actually an okay training map. So I'm a bit surprised by this. On top of that, like, you can trade at the bottom here, and it creates basically 2 pressure points. Now you have both the land and the sea that your opponent must pressure. So it's a pretty interesting thing in my opinion. So one mistake that is being done here though is that we can see that the Muslim, as soon as he edges up, he goes for an Hulk. If you remember the game that we have casted recently between Jiwei and Koor, as you go to Feudal Age, you must stop fishing boat production. Go for ships. Go for aggressive ships. Why? You may think, yeah, but this outpost is enough. No, it's not enough. Because this outpost, if your opponent comes in with his army plus a ship, your outpost is going to fall. Okay? So you need water support. Like, basically, you have to think of it as a fight on two fronts, okay? But those two fronts are not independent. It's not there is water on one side and there is land on the other. The two fronts are progressing together. And you can see that thanks to his ships, thanks to his combat ships, DemuSlim can now pressure the water, simply because he has some support from the water onto his land army. SortOf doesn't. So at that point, DemuSlim is ahead, he's gonna push forward, and he's gonna get the dock down, once again. So now, for DemuSlim, it's about making sure that this dock is never going up. Basically, we can see a demo ship that is gonna be, like, intercepted, basically, killed. There we go. And that's what I said earlier. You need support from both sides. At the same time, if you do not support your water with your land army, you might lose your water units, okay? But now Demu, instead of reacting back, he's reacting forward in a way. He's trying to put pressure onto his opponent, leading into some villager kills. Is he gonna go for the Uvu? That's a big question. Is he gonna go for the Uvu or not? Right now he's going for the trade. So right now, what DemuSlim is trying to do, he has the initiative, he's trying to raise the pace. He's trying to force his opponent to fight onto multiple fronts, both the water front and the land front, okay? That's what he's trying to do right now. Instead, like, he saw that the damage was done on the water. Okay, what is the next step? What do I want to do next? He can either keep his army and his water close by, or he can try to divide and conquer, basically, and that's what he chose to do here, okay? So, was it the correct choice? Maybe yes, maybe not. A dock is up again. So was it that good to actually go for a little bit of damage here? I'm not sure. Maybe it was better to just stay here, stay compact both with your land and water army, and make sure that the river is not being contested again by SortOf. Remember, the sea is always right. Like, that's the thing that they say in the... how is it called? It's not the Lord of the Ring, of course, but Ring of Power. There you go, Ring of Power TV show. So we can see now DemuSlim doing a big attack once again, land plus water at the same time here from DemuSlim, and he's gonna retake all of this. However, DemuSlim needs to be careful because right now he's behind in terms of land army. This is a Mongol army, so there is always the possibility for a maneuver arrow, which can lead into this army closing onto this one, and this one getting cleaned. So he needs to be very careful about this. His water is gonna get cleaned, but it doesn't matter. We can see that behind this, like all of this was basically a distraction. Behind this, DemuSlim is going for a castle edge, okay? So what DemuSlim is doing right there is using an attack in order to keep the pressure onto his opponent, to force his opponent back. He's doing enough damage so his opponent cannot retaliate, and then he's trying to disengage. The big thing here is to disengage. Do not lose this army. If this army is going down, then your opponent has a chance of coming back. As long as this army is up, it's going to be difficult to come and siege those docks, especially with the Grand Galley coming up. That's one of the things. I wouldn't say go for this with every sieve, but Ottoman, they have the Grand Galley. And Grand Galley, what it does, it's very, very simple. It makes it impossible for land units to come and try to contest your dock. It makes it absolutely impossible. It is way too strong in water to land combat. Like way too strong. So we are gonna see the Grand Galley is gonna come up. We can see the reinforcement coming from DemuSlim. Once again, and that's one of the features of DemuSlim, you are gonna see when he has initiative, he is pushing very far. On this map, it's very easy to see because you have a very streamlined, basically, action path. And you can see the Grand Galley coming up and absolutely destroying what's happening on land because that's what Grand Galley does. Basically, it's a bit OP. In that department, it's extremely good at supporting land from water. I was saying, on this map, it's very easy to see because there is this very streamlined axis between both of the landmarks, okay, between both of the bases. what DemuSlim is doing is, when he has the initiative, he's pushing very far on the axis, okay? He's forcing his opponent very forward. And what it does is that when he loses the initiative, his opponent has a lot of ground to cover, okay? And that's really something that I want you to understand, is that you do not want to play back when you are ahead. You want to play forward. That doesn't mean that you are diving under your opponent TC. It means that you are taking the space and you are making sure that if your opponent wants to then like attack you, he has to cover all of that space again. And so when your opponent is counter-attacking, you are basically winning 30 seconds. And that's really, really important. 30 seconds is a lot. And we can see here the Gwen Getty just zoning everything. Like, there is no way you can contest, you can save his outpost as SortOf. There is no way. What SortOf needs to do, though, is, as I said, like, remember what we saw in the previous game. We saw DemuSlim, as he loses the initiative, what has he done? He has gone for sides, okay? What SortOf needs to do right now is going for side. We can see a stable is going down. Very good. Would have loved to see that a little bit earlier. Would have loved to see multiple villager on top of his stable. Because right now what he needs to do, he needs knights and he needs to go into his opponent base. Okay? He needs to gain time. If he tries to fight this head on, if he tries to fight this without causing damage at the back of his opponent, he is going to lose. Okay? That's the big thing. Yes, still live. So here we can see SortOf, he's trying to go into knights. There you go. Going into knights. And he's gonna need more knights than this. He's gonna need he needs like 2 to 4 knights. And he needs to go here. He needs to go on this gold mine. He needs to go at this back. Like, right now, the Ottomans are basically securing their win condition, which is doing a military school transition without paying the tempo price for it. Like, military schools are tempo negative in the early game. They are extremely tempo positive as the game progresses. Okay, that's the way to think about it. So what you want to do is make sure that you can transition onto them without losing too much tempo while staying in control of what's happening in the game. Okay, basically they are a boomissive. In a way, they are a boomissive that booms by making more military than you. Because they cannot choose where their resources are going. They don't choose that, basically. Their resources are automatically going into military thanks to military schools. So we can see DemuSlim is controlling the middle of the map, and he doesn't have to worry about anything, because his opponent hasn't gone enough knights yet in order to contest his backside. His opponent is not trying to raise the pace. As I said, you lose the initiative. What you want to do is go into your opponent base. We saw that in the previous game with DemuSlim. You want to go on the side. You want to divert the attention of your opponent. And right now, like, SortOf is failing at doing so. I'm not saying it's easy. Let's be very real here, because you have to deal with this in a way, okay? That's the thing. You have to deal with this in a way. But, like, you see those long seconds that are being gained. Get that knight, get those knights, get them at the back of your opponent base. Here they are doing nothing. That's the way to think about it. Here they are doing absolutely nothing. This ship is a big problem, because now it's cutting the trade, it's cutting some villagers pathing, and like, it's too late for SortOf, basically. He stood too long into the feudal age, sadly. His eco is gonna fall very, very quickly, because now his trade is being contested, at least on the bottom side, maybe soon on the top side. This gold mine is gonna be contested by this very soon, and he's losing access to wood. He has no wood in base anymore, and at that point I think SortOf is gonna give up, because, as I said, he's losing control of wood, and that's a really, really, really big issue. Here we can see DemuSlim is committing onto this tower, as we said, and the goal now is to go and contest the gold. Up. Easy, easy not. Easy, easy not. Come on, Demu. But there you go. Really interesting game, in my opinion. Once again, the big thing to take from this game in particular is the way DemuSlim is pushing extremely far forward when he is ahead. And so that way his opponent had a very long way to go in order to counterattack, as DemuSlim was going for a transition. Basically, you push back your opponent, you go for a fast transition, as you go for the pushback of your opponent as you start transitioning behind. You don't push back your opponent and then transition. You do both at the same time, and that way what happens is that by the time your opponent is counterattacking, your transition is already done, you're safe. As we saw, the counterattack was coming from SortOf, boom, Drain Galley is up. And at that point, it is GG. Like, let's be real. As soon as the Grain Galley is up, you cannot contest the water is still up. And from there, SortOf was in a lot of trouble. I hope you enjoyed this cast. Those games are a bit less analytical than the last one because there are less mistakes. And I'm trying to point out really what DemuSlim is doing well, rather than what SortOf is missing. I'm sorry, SortOf, if you were interested in but I want also on the channel to how to say that to show what you should do, what great players are doing, okay? And sometimes, as we saw with Core versus GUA, what some very good players are missing to be great. You see what I mean? That's the thing that I also want to promote. This time, like for this series, we are going to focus on DemuSlim and focus on what is doing extremely well. I hope you enjoyed this video, guys. Make sure to subscribe, like. We are going to cast 2 more games, DemuSlim versus SortOf, right now on stream. Feel free, by the way, to join me on stream. I'm casting that it's gonna probably be Saturday and Sunday morning every week, because that's a moment in which I'm free. And there you go, guys. I see you next time, and we find ourselves for 2 more games on the stream. Bye bye.